Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
Welcome back. It's your girl Moni.
And it's Kat.
Hey Kat.
Hey Moni.
You look refreshed.
Thank you. I was arting earlier.
You were arting earlier. Did you want to tell them real quick what was going on?
Yeah, had the Authentic Arts Portfolio Workshop earlier today. It was fantastic. It always feels good to just talk to people in the art community. It's just really fun.
Strange. I love that for you, friend.
How about you? Why do you look great?
It's the lighting again. It's also the lip gloss. And
You
of
should also
fun.
thank your mom.
I will thank my mom.
She had a little to do with
definitely.
that.
And my dad, he did some stuff too. You know what I'm saying? He did some stuff too. Let him have it a little bit. But no, I'm excited because we get to talk about, well, actually, let me take that back.
Okay.
Because I was not excited.
Oh,
I full disclosure,
this is the first time I'm ever hearing you weren't excited.
I wasn't.
Okay, let's
was
get
fake.
into it. Let's be real.
Yeah, let's be real for 1 second. Actually, let me get my notes.
Okay.
Because I forgot the name of the book because I'm late.
It's
Okay.
how we ended racism.
See, it's just hearing that made me feel angry. And I know that is not okay, and then when I figured out.
Actually, yes, it is. We learned from the book that you can totally feel your emotions and there's nothing wrong with your emotions.
I guess okay, so before we get into all that, you guys, let's slow down. I'm going to take a deep breath, okay? We are here to talk about how we ended racism. This is a book by Justin Michael Williams and Shelly Tygielski. And they wrote this book, from the standpoint of it's 2050 and we ended racism and how did we get here? So I thought that was a pretty cool sort of
Concept?
social experiment of sorts or whatever. So we're going to get into it really quick, guys. So let me give you a little bit of that pretty much was it, but I'll give you the official spiel on this book. So it's the year 2050 and racism has ended. Could this really be our future? If so, what has to happen now to achieve such a radical change? And How We Ended Racism, Justin Michael Williams and Shelly Tygielski reveal a path for the real and lasting global impact, not just talking about it, studying it, or making small steps, but actually ending racism in one generation.
Dun, dun, dun. I was excited to read about it. I was like,
this is when I wish I had camera people to close up on my face blinking very slowly. Because I just
do that.
I
could just do a zoom. That could be I could zoom in on you. Okay, so what are your protestations?
So first thought was just how we ended racism. The fuck?
But that's the thing.
Did we?
Well, in the
Are
future,
we?
we haven't yet, but we have to think of it, because their whole thing was all the literature was around, we'll be fighting this forever. And so their thing was no, at some point, we killed it. No?
It's just, to be honest, my mind has never gone there. I've never envisioned a future like that, which is really fucking sad.
Interesting. Maybe it's because I grew up with Star Trek where there was no racism, so I've always envisioned a future without it.
Period. So I had to really be honest with myself about can I take this in? Because on top of the title of the book, when you flip the book over and see this black man and this white lady standing there telling you how they ended racism, I was just
Together.
Of course y'all did. Of course y'all did. You know what I mean? So it's a little unfair. I just want to go into, my review of this book totally being honest about
Moni's
the fact
a hostile witness.
That was the feeling that I felt initially. And I had to try to unpack that a little bit before I could read the book and take it in and try to be as objective as I could. So
okay, that's
understand
honest.
that, yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling when I first. So yeah, excitement.
So kind of how I was going into Killers of the Flower Moon.
100%. It was bitch, I don't want to revisit this. This is crazy. So now that I got that out the way, before we actually really jump into it though, friend, let's dedicate this episode.
Okay.
So everyone, you know what to do. If you're new here, hands over your hearts. I want to dedicate this episode to our patrons. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you guys aren't supporting us on Patreon, that's okay. You always have the opportunity to do so. So please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/thefabpodcast. We have a library of just fun bonus content for you guys. Kat shows her bottom half sometimes. You might enjoy that. So she said it. That was, and
That sounds wild.
it does. That's why I said it. And I also wanted to dedicate this episode to Isabella Wilkerson. We did review her book, Cast, on our show, and you lovingly pointed out to me that it was a two-parter and we didn't even finish her book. Mad disrespectful. Also, it's a fake-ass book club, so get real. But I just wanted to dedicate this episode to her and everybody doing the anti-racist work, everybody who actually does have hope, everybody who spends their time really trying to deconstruct this really fucked up system that we live inside of, because your girl is a little cynical over here. So what about you, friend? Because I'm scared.
All the hopesters.
You guys are the best. 'Cause
Okay, so yes, and also, this is going out to all the women making everybody mad. So Ava DuVernay being one of them. Also, thanks to your Gigi for the hookup for the free screening of Origin, which is based on Cast. I got to see that, and I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. I think everybody should check it out, especially if you're not able to read the very intense academic work that is Cast. And also Megan Thee Stallion, because she's making a lot of people mad, apparently. What's up?
it's getting very close.
Apparently. I'm into it.
Yep. It's the only way we're going to end racism is together. So, I don't know.
And, you know, we are going to end this dedication.
It's over now. It's over now. Well, racism isn't, though.
No, we haven't ended it yet, but I think we could. It would have been kind of like when the abolitionists were trying to end slavery. Well, and I actually thought it was a great tie-in from after seeing Origin, which is all about the different types of caste systems. She's specifically discussed the race-based caste system in America. Excellent. And then reading this book about which echoes a lot of the points that are made in Cast.
It's true.
It's true.
It's not untrue.
But I get the feeling that you didn't find it particularly pleasant.
No, it's not that. Actually, on the contrary, like it was, I mean, I felt I had mixed thoughts about it. And they weren't all negative or anything. They were trying to build hope. Like, and I can appreciate that because it is necessary. I forget that sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good to be reminded about that. But I think before we kind of dig into like the book and how they have it all set up, I'm going to give you my computer and let you read a little bit about Justin, Michael Williams, and Shelly Tygielski, because we want to give them their little shout out real quick before we jump into the book here.
About the authors. Justin Michael Williams brings people together across divides with a multi-generational message of hope, empowerment, and unity. He is an award-winning speaker, Grammy-nominated recording artist, and the author of Stay Woke, a meditation guide for the rest of us and how we ended racism with Shelly Tygielski. For more, visit justinmichaelwilliams.com. Shelly Tygielski is a trauma-informed mindfulness teacher, speaker, and activist. She founded the CNN hero-featured global grassroots organization Pandemic of Love, is the co-host and executive producer of the television series All Hands on Deck, and is the author of Sit Down to Rise Up and How We Ended Racism. For more, visit shellytygielski.com.
Okay, there you have it. Now you guys know a little bit about the authors. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know where you want to start with everything. I definitely
let me pull up my notes.
Yeah, pull up
because
your
it's not
notes.
a narrative.
It's not a narrative, honestly. So I'll start then. While you're looking for your notes, I think the thing that surprised me the most about this book was that it was extremely interactive. So I was not expecting all of that. it's like, please pause for a minute to think about these things and all of the prompts and stuff like that.
Because it was a course.
It was like, honestly, it was like junior therapy for your life is what it was.
It gave me a lot of, it was very similar to therapy, like a lot
Very
of the
much
language
so.
and emotional regulation.
Yes.
I actually put in my notes that it did kind of feel like an ad for their course.
Very much so. Which is, I guess, good because, like, again, like if you're talking about something as aspirational as a narrative that is taking the form of like, oh, we've ended racism, and then we're just talking about like if we were looking back and exploring how we got there, yeah, you're gonna have to have reference points for that, So some of the research, so here it says that both of them are drawing from a wide array of scientific studies as well as their practical successes in teaching a multitude of diverse groups across perceived divides to show us how to shift our perspectives and enact lasting change in our families, workplaces, communities, and beyond. They provide solid answers to questions future generations will ask about this pivotal time in history by laying out 8 conditions that need to arise in humanity to realize this possibility. And then it kind of goes over what they're covering. So on one hand, even though it did feel like, oh yeah, go to our website to find these resources, like, but what are you talking about? Show me what you're talking about though. So whether or not I take those resources and feel like it's actually, something that's going to help or not is going to be subjective. But I think it was nice for them to have a reference point for some of the stuff that they were talking about.
It was well researched.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, they directly reference Isabel Wilkerson's book Cast early in the book, which I was like, oh, how apropos. And use the metaphor of the dilapidated house that you inherited.
I love that.
It's a great metaphor where it's just like, well, I didn't build this house. It's like, well, it's yours now. So what you gonna do?
Y'all gonna act like y'all don't see this ceiling?
Yeah, like we're
in?
just gonna let it crumble because it's like, well, we can't change it now. It's like,
but
I think we need to.
We need to do something. So in their book, they have a quote: "You don't fix racism, you don't fight it, you don't make it better, you end it.
You kill it."
How do you feel about that?
I agree. Hopeful. I really like the fact that they took the time to spell out the fact that racism isn't real, and we could just stop doing that.
Mm-hmm. We could
just stop putting that on forms. We could stop putting it on birth certificates, like these labels. The fact that we don't even have the same label as our parents.
Why do you think people are so attached to these labels, though? Like, what is that about?
I think order is great. Like, that's the thing. Like, we have to have order in society. And I think it gives people a false sense of security where it's just like, these people fall into this box and I don't have to think about it anymore. And, but that's not how life works. It's just not true. It's a myth. And I think when we base our assertions on myths, we suffer.
Yeah, they talk a lot about that.
They do. And so, I don't know, are there any like messed up beliefs you've had to like put behind you or like?
Yeah, I guess I'm still trying to put behind me the fact that like I feel hopeless a lot of the time, especially when it comes to racism.
I meant like have you been bigoted towards a group of people? That's what I meant.
Bigoted.
Like at any point have you like hated Muslims?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I find it hard to just hate groups of people, but I have made like general comments about, like I would say more than any group probably, people who consider themselves white. I think that's usually, if I have commentary around anything, it's usually that. And it's usually in reference to, it's not like I'm not the kind of person. I actually really
It's like white people eat pizza like this.
Yes, there's never anything like that. Like, I won't say that I've never used like a voice. There's the voice.
Ooh,
You've done
Moni used the voice.
I've used the voice.
Like the Eddie Murphy voice.
Yeah, basically. Or the Martin Lawrence voice when he's being, we know the voice.
Use your vowels.
Exactly. So, I've done that kind of stuff, but like, I think it's usually in response to not like an individual person, but like like we say Karens or something. Like I've definitely said that.
Shout out to all the nice white people named Karen.
I know.
God, that's got to be difficult. Just the law of averages, they've got to be out there.
They are out there, and that's unfortunate.
Shout
for
out
you.
to y'all.
And I feel you because I'm a Monica in the '90s. So Monica Lewinsky, I've talked about that on the show. That was unfortunate. But it's just, yeah. I mean, I guess I've said. I don't know if I would call it bigoted. I guess it has. I mean, I guess it could be considered that.
Yeah. So Moni's a bigot. That's messed up. So did this book help you put some of that away?
I don't know.
Did it help you do? Okay, because here's the thing. Because it has like little exercises or whatever.
It does.
Did you do any of the exercises, or did you just?
I was like doing stuff in the middle of it.
Did you listen to it?
I listened to it, and I was listening to it fast, so like the pauses weren't. It's like, and we're gonna give you a minute to pause, and it's like next question.
Were you on double speed?
I wasn't on double speed.
I was on double speed.
I was 1.5.
1.5. Yeah. I was double speed because I read it today. I listened to it today.
Wow.
So
wow. And I didn't even finish it.
You fake ass.
I can't even tell you where I made it to. I think maybe, I didn't even quite make it to
You probably got it. It's fine.
I pretty much got it. But
it was very much a course.
So I want to go back because now I feel like you asked me a question I wasn't expecting about the bigoted thing. And I want to make sure I clarify this for anybody who wants to leave comments anywhere. I think that you can't live in our society and not have prejudice toward people or like preconceived notions and stuff. I try my best not to lead with it. I've always been that way though. I don't like to make generalizations. There will be times where, like, say you and I are together with a group of friends and we meet somebody and this person is hitting all of the stereotypical marks of a certain group or demographic of people. I promise you, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not gonna just assume because they are showing up, like in this fashion that means that. Like I wanna make sure that I'm leaving the space for it to be like something else. Sometimes because it could go either way. I don't like when people do that to me. And I think that's why I try to be that way and I try to be open-minded about stuff. But I do think that like there's always conversations that are had that could be, like if taken out of context, could be like, yo, that was kind of fucked up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, I got to be transparent on that. I probably have said some stuff that could be considered problematic, but we all do.
But that's part of one of the steps. Your shadow, is it shadow thought?
Shadow work.
Shadow work. Okay, so you've done your shadow work.
I mean, I don't think you stop doing it,
Right. I like the fact that they put we don't end racism by being perfect.
No. And that is an important message too. So let's just talk about the 8 pillars because the book was built around that. I think maybe I made it to. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I got to 6. I got a 6 out of 8. So I'm going to run them down really quick.
Never end racism.
I know. If it's up to me, you guys, I'm sorry. Like I really hate it a lot. I'm not somebody who likes to use stuff like, people will say like, white trash.
Oh, I always hated that.
It's like, I don't need to do, like, I'm not that kind of person. And I will stop people. Like, if I notice a conversation is like, the Mex, like goes into the Mexicans.
I always be like, hey, take it easy. We like Mexicans around here.
Like, listen.
Like, because that's the thing, too. Like, you can offer correction without being like, you piece of shit.
Right.
Get the... Yeah, you're just like, hey, chill out.
Yeah, like I don't talk like that.
It's like, and people say stuff like that eating a taco. You know what I mean?
Fully appropriating with a whole sombrero and everything. It's like, please stop.
It's like, chill out. But yeah, I like the way that they did give some practical tips. But like, let's do the thing. Let's get some pillars.
We'll do the pillars. So the first one is we are anchored into a new vision. It says we learn how to lean into the collective vision, shifting our thinking and understanding the fundamental difference between creating from our limitations of the past and present, which is what we normally do, and creating from the possibilities of the future.
So Star Trek.
And so I think that pillar for me is important. Like, it's good for me to hear that. I do think that because we are in the arts, we've talked about that a lot on the show, and how like artistic spaces, you're not necessarily coming from the future, but you're coming from this creative space. This book
helps you to envision a better future.
And it reminded me of Rest is Resistance, because a lot of what we think about as I don't want to, they call it the P word in here, privilege, would be meaning like not what you get to experience and have, but things you don't have to think about sometimes is more what they're speaking about. But like the more free time you have, because you're not burdened down with economic struggles or whatever, you have more time to be in that dream state, that rest space of creative thinking for solutions. And I think when I think about that, I'm like, yeah, I'm never in no fucking relaxed space. I'm just not, you know, and even when I am, I'm not. So getting to a space where I'm thinking about the possibilities of a future outside of what I know, because I'm so practical, is difficult for me.
Okay.
So to be reminded that, like, yeah, sometimes you do have to remove that.
You have to make believe a little.
A little bit. So that's a really great reminder for me. So I don't know how that pillar resonates for you, but anchored in a new vision, I'm like, yeah, I could probably work on that if I wanted to end racism.
I mean, I could work on everything, but I feel like Star Trek's really helped me with that.
So you're nailing the first pillar.
Well,
that's
and because
good.
I love sci-fi, so much of sci-fi is about envisioning a future.
Yeah,
and some things had to change for human beings to make it into the future.
Yeah, and you pointed that out before too, like how people in the past have had to do that, and it's like, man, I appreciate them.
Yeah, visionaries.
Put the music back up.
Just like
I
the
want to dedicate this to them.
Just like the I think about how, like, in the midst of picking cotton, how impossible ending that must have seemed.
I'm the one you're gonna have to convince. Trust me, once you've convinced me, I will work very hard to help you do everything.
I've been like, listen, you gorgeous mulatto, we gotta get out of here.
Show me the money. I don't know what
like,
the fuck
but that's
is
the
happening.
thing. Like you'd be illiterate. Like I wouldn't even have anything to show you because I've been like, look, they freed us. It's like that's
nice.
nothing to me.
I don't even know what that means.
Is
right,
it calorie? Can I eat it?
Right. That is so true.
It's like I don't have shoes.
So I might have died, guys.
Anyway, second pillar.
Second pillar, guys. We agreed on the truth. We explored fundamental questions and concepts about the concept of truth, what it is and what it isn't, while providing tools for you to dig into with truth. So this is like, I got this from their website. This is in their own words. What did you think about this one? We agreed on the truth.
I actually had notes about that one because they do give like real life examples from the workshops that they've had and stuff like that. And there was a guy who, I don't know what he was. He was like very anti-Islamic or whatever.
Yeah, he was Jewish, and he didn't have any friends or anything, but just
and so his whole thing was like when he started doing research as to why he felt so negatively about Muslims, he just was like, oh, well, there's nothing to really back up a lot of my assumptions, but one of the things that, because I took the overall point, which is good, which is like you shouldn't just hate a group of people because of what you heard about them. But also they actually took the step of saying there's nothing in the Quran that says anything negative about Jewish people. And that's not 100% accurate. So it shouldn't really be in a chapter about truth because there are quite a few things in the Quran that could be interpreted as not great towards Jews, you know what I mean? And
so we don't agree on the truth, is what you're saying. But at the same
time, it doesn't mean that every Muslim is anti-Semitic, even if it's the same way with Christians. Like in the Bible, there's a lot of stuff that's like very negative towards gay people, but not every Christian person is homophobic. So I think that would have been a better way to frame it than just to straight up say, because that would have been the same as saying there's nothing in the Bible that's homophobic. It's like, that's just blatantly not true.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that every Christian hates gay people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that every Muslim hates Jewish people. But they talk about in and out group thinking, and these are all groups that use that.
So, when I hear we agreed on the truth, I feel like when I'm thinking about one of the big reasons why I feel very pessimistic about how racism could be ended is that. It's like,
people, because we're evolved for in and out group thinking.
We're now talking about the earth might be flat again. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like there's this huge regression happening. It feels like, I don't know how some of the most frustrating conversations I've ever had in my life are rooted in the fact that we cannot agree on
the truth,
the objective truth. And anytime I'm in a situation like that, I disengage. I cannot. Because we can't go anywhere if we can't just say this is a microphone right now. And you're like, well, I mean, how do you know it's a microphone?
It's like maybe it's
okay.
amplifying your voices because there's like a village of trolls in there that are on a treadmill, and that's what's amplifying your voice right now. And it's not actually.
And then my voice is like, it's resonating off of the hairs on top of their head, and it's creating those vibrations that you now hear.
Yeah.
I can't do that with people. So it's like if we can't even agree on the objective truth about our history, about our
how we got here,
any of it, it's like, how are we ending racism?
Yeah. Okay. What's
hoping and dreaming? Like, okay, so number 3, we can okay. We owned our emotions. This one kind of, I mean, all of them sort of tie in together. We owned our emotions. It says we deepen our understanding of our own emotions in order to deepen our connection to ourselves and to others. Then we closely examine the emotions we associate with race and racism.
That's a lot of work, actually.
That's a whole bunch. and that's the thing, again, like I wasn't prepared for all the self-work. Like if you're gonna read this book, be prepared to like honestly really be doing a lot of self-assessment. And because it goes beyond the racism stuff. It just goes into how you think about yourself, which is a really good point overall. Is that you have to feel good about yourself. You have to know how you're processing emotions and all that kind of stuff.
It made me think of an episode of Sex and the City where I think Richard had cheated on Samantha.
Bastard.
And he admitted to being scared. And she's like, that's a really hard thing for men to admit. And Miranda's like, I'm tired of giving men credit for properly identifying an emotion. She's like, I'm pissed off. Ta-da.
Not ta-da. Well, no one's impressed because you do it all the time. It's like, see, I was going to say something racist. Probably, or I should say prejudice.
There it
it's not
is.
racist because honestly, this comment isn't going to ruin Justin Timberlake's life or anything. But I was going to say like, because it's like, oh, he can dance good.
Oh, yeah, look at him go.
Look at him go.
He's so well-spoken.
It's just like you get more credit sometimes when people don't expect you to be moving in a certain way. So that's all I mean to say. Don't listen. Okay.
But yeah, that was, because they do like everyone. Here's the thing. They're young. You can tell they're young.
They are. And
this is the thing, like,
good.
It's a good
We
thing.
gotta have it.
Because they're just like, how did that make you feel? Put your hand where that made you feel that.
like right
now
here.
and they're like, do some box breathing.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
It's good advice. It was almost too positive.
The realest shit I heard in this book was the black guy who happens to be queer. The white woman, I believe she is Jewish. Mm-hmm. He was saying that he was telling his dad about the work that he was going to do. And his dad was like, I don't even know why you wasting your time talking to these white folks. They ain't never going to change. I was like,
I do remember that part. And
that is honestly, and again, I'm not talking about one white person. I'm talking about systems that are built. I'm just talking about systems.
It's so insulated from the
built.
truth in a lot of things, which is why
it feels hopeless. And
it's hard. But just think about how hard every revolution has been. We can do hard things. Okay, what was pillar
next.
number quattro?
Okay, number quattro. We became intra-connected. We understand the difference between being intra-connected and interconnected, and we explore our relationship to wholeness. And the way they describe this in the book, to my understanding, was like, feeling a connectedness to the earth almost. You know what I'm saying? Like if I looked at everything around me as an extension of myself, like how could I do harm to it sort of thing. And I think that feeling to me is innate.
Yeah.
So this one for me is an easy one because I see that feels pretty apparent and intuitive. So this one isn't like a huge adjustment for me, it
reminded me of that Michael Jackson song, You're Just Another Part of Me.
Hee hee. Classic. Oh! That was that part.
That was also it. Did you ever go to Epcot Center in Disney?
I've never been to Disney.
Oh,
we were poor.
I I didn't go until I was an adult.
I'm still poor. I'm very rich. I'm very rich. In love and in
do you remember?
experience.
Because actually, I was familiar with it before I went to Epcot. I was really excited when I got to see it, like, because there's the Captain Neo thing where Michael Jackson, like, basically does this space adventure.
Was it like from that movie he did, the Michael Jackson Experience?
I think so, yeah.
Why did we just randomly watch that? Keith showed me the tree. He was watching old ass trailers. Hard left here, guys. Of just old movies and stuff. He's like, "Do you remember this?" And not until I like watched halfway through that I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this now."
I remember wanting to go to Epcot so bad because I wanted to see it, and so as an adult, I finally did, and it was pretty great.
Okay,
but yeah, at the end of it, he sings that song, "You're Just Another Part of Me."
Yeah,
Hee hee.
And hee hee. I actually this is why I'm ignoring that. No,
We're taking over.
No,
I know.
You're taking over. You are. It's happening.
We had to.
Oh my gosh. See, now I'm forgetting.
I'm sorry.
You do this every time.
But you're just another part of me.
Oh, it made me think about, thank you, that helped. Indigenous people. And what's wild to me, okay, is how indigenous people, this is something that is so intuitive to them. It's so part. I mean, I don't care which indigenous group you find. It's always like, we're connected to this land. We're connected to the earth.
We're all related.
It's the interconnectedness is super apparent. And it's like we gotten so far away from it that we have to remind ourselves. But what's crazy is that okay, so like colonialism and where a lot of modern racism stems from, all of that shit got erased though, right? Because we're savages, correct? Like, we don't know shit. And now here we are. Wow. What's the answer? Getting back to the shit that got suppressed and was like, oh, that
was all that boogity stuff. Yeah.
And then it gets repackaged though. And then the faces
now you're
of
paying
this
for
message. Yeah, the faces of this message it's like, I'm having a hard time, guys. I'm having a hard time. Because this has been the truth. You know what I'm saying? But also, you have to repackage things, I guess, sometimes for people to get it, because the messenger does matter. And if it's a brown person, sometimes you don't. If you like to dance with your shoes off, you don't. I don't know. I'm just saying. So that being interconnected part resonates with me. I feel like it's like getting back to something that always was, kind of. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but.
No, it was perfect, especially the captain. I'm really glad you saw that recently, so I didn't even. Ow!
So, okay, number five. We did shadow work. We talked a little bit about this. So we seek to understand our shadow, freeing ourselves from the stronghold of our habits and patterns, especially those that are superstitious, so that they no longer control our destiny. We learn to we lean into intergenerational change and commit to understanding the big P, privilege, in a clear manner and grapple with our doubts.
I gotta say, I gotta pat my back. I'm really great at this.
At your shadow work? Straight up?
Straight up.
Tell me about it. What you be doing?
I mean, I'm not afraid of any of my thoughts. I feel them, and I don't have to, I don't really feel bad about any thoughts I have. It's just my actions. Like, as long as I feel what I feel, and it's like, so if I feel a twinge of jealousy about something, it's like, oh, okay. Well, where's that coming from? And it's like, you know what? I can actually turn that into, like, you know what? Good for them. Like, you can turn that into like a type of compersion instead of just like, man, I hate them for having that and I don't.
And I
you
wish
know,
them
like,
nothing
or
but-
just any kind of like thoughts that you have. Like, I don't think there's just anything so terrible about anywhere where you have to just like feel this deep sense of shame all the time or whatever. So yeah.
Catholicism didn't get you, huh?
Nope. Nice try.
That's crazy. I guess
They
I got a little
tried.
bit of it. They did.
They tried.
They did.
tried.
Oh man. Shadow work. I think I'm getting better at it. I don't think that I recognized that it was a thing for a long time.
Oh, okay.
So when I became aware of it, I think that that's pretty helpful. And this is at the point where I feel like it felt very
Did you
therapy
say
like.
superstitious or subconscious?
I don't know.
I think you said superstitious. You said especially those that are subconscious.
Oh, let's go back. Especially those that are subconscious.
Just say the whole thing again.
I'm gonna say it
That'll be
again.
easier.
Okay. We do the shadow work. This is number 5. We seek to understand our shadow, freeing ourselves from the stronghold of our habits and patterns, especially those that are subconscious. Why do I want to say superstitious? That's crazy.
Well, superstition's bad too.
Especially those that are subconscious, so that they are no longer in control of our destiny. We lean into intergenerational change and commit to understanding the big P, privilege, in a clear manner and grapple with our doubts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing I can do about my subconscious thoughts. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
that's
true.
the thing. They come up. You can feel them. Steven Universe had a great song about that. Here Comes a Thought. And it's like, it was just
song.
so
It's
you just
okay,
had, it's just okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Oh my gosh, take a minute.
So that's like shadow work. Yeah, that's shadow work.
I love that song.
Yeah, so
Steven.
it doesn't have to be this like scary thing. Like, you know what? We have our feelings. It's fine. We're not in control of necessarily the emotions we feel, but we control like what we do with those.
I like that. I
Yeah.
do think you're pretty good at that.
Thank you.
Actually,
work on it.
Yeah, I can tell. That's great.
Lots of songs. I sing lots of songs about it.
And that is a good one. I'm gonna have to try to find that and put the
I've
link in
got it
there.
downloaded.
Do
Yeah.
you? You have to send it to me.
yeah.
Okay. All right, so number 6, you guys. Okay. We practiced forgiveness. We learn about what forgiveness is and each of its core elements as well as how to offer forgiveness and ask for forgiveness and make amends.
Dope. I'm also really good at this. Can I pat myself on the back for this
Yes.
one too? I make it a point to say, when people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I make it a point to say, I forgive you. Like, people, you don't hear it much. You don't
No.
hear that sentence very often. Like, I forgive you. You hear I'm sorry all the time, but people rarely are like, oh, I forgive you.
Okay. Forgiveness. I feel like I am. I'm good. So I'm not a grudge holder per se.
I don't know about all that. How do you feel about my ex-husband?
Oh yeah, I don't like him. Right? See. Well, make me a liar. No, that's what I see, because I wanted to be honest.
There it is. But I think in
But
general,
it's certain things, yeah, like there's certain things to me that are unforgivable.
But I think
and
if he
that's
was
not
like
true,
actually
though.
repentant and was like actually,
right, and they do talk about the different kinds,
Yeah.
right? Like there's some kind of like there's the absolution kind that happens where you just know you have to let shit go because it's destroying your life. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be able to move on, and you're never gonna have closure. There's people who are truly sorry, and you trust that like they are sorry and that they're gonna do the work. And that's a lot different, that is a lot different. So I think that the forgiveness part is another thing that makes me feel like I don't see how this is gonna work as far as ending racism, because I think
well, it's gonna take
It's hard
radical
to let-
action though.
it can't, because it can't just be me letting go. I think in terms of racism, I think some of it you have to be able to like, okay, but it has to come with something. You can't just be asking a group of people, I don't feel.
Okay.
Any group of people to just be like, oh, well, you just have to let it go and move on. It's like, I don't have to.
All right. I think this is every single one of these pillars are doing a lot of work.
It's so much work.
It's a lot of work. But I mean, that's why it's a book and why it's a course, because it's obviously not something
Yes.
we're naturally doing because we haven't done it yet.
And quickly, I'll just say the last two too, because we don't have the rest of our lives
don't have
to
all
talk
night
about
for
it, and
this?
we're not going to solve it tonight either. So, number 7 is we had big conversations. We learned the difference between calling people forward instead of calling people out. The fundamental building blocks of learning to engage in difficult conversations that are productive. We learn how to use a tool called Suss It Out, which helps us navigate our.
I'm sorry,
Suss it out. Helps us navigate through this while still creating boundaries. Number 8, we took action. We began to connect the inner work to the outer world in a tangible way, identifying a project, an actionable next step to contribute in ways small and large.
I liked number 7.
Sussing it out.
Yeah, because it actually, I do feel hope. I feel like this generation, because of the amount of access they have to all this information, they are better at having big conversations because they're dealing with a lot of information. And the same thing too, taking action, I think that's the big end, isn't it?
I think so.
Because I think people are just so afraid of change, like even positive change.
Right. We just talked about, getting something you want and have asked for, and how that can even be scary. Like when you get the thing you've asked for, you're like, oh my gosh.
It's like, well, what am I supposed to do with this?
It's like, well, what if or you're already anticipating losing it, or.
Remember that Heavy D song, Now That We Found Love, What Are We Gonna Do With It?
With it.
Tell me,
we found love, what are we gonna do?
I love Heavy D so much. His dancing ass.
And the boys, don't forget about
Heavy
them.
D and no, I liked Heavy D more. The boys.
Why didn't say more? See, you're comparing.
It's just they could have been interchangeable. I don't know. It was just Heavy D for me. We could have just billed him. But shout out to the boys.
Thank you. That's all I was saying.
Shout out. I'm just talking about that video. I love that video
nice.
So much.
I can't picture it, but I know it was whimsical.
Oh yeah, they were all like dancing in the street, and he had like the little like raincoat.
colors?
No, I think at some point, but like he had on. What did he have on? It was just a fantastic dance number. It was like Bollywood almost. Like when everybody's dancing in the street and stuff. It wasn't, but I'm just saying, just like, everybody's doing the same dance in there. Because really, if you think about it, like Michael Jackson, like Remember the Time, and it's kind of like an you know what I mean? Like everyone's dancing the same.
It's great.
Yeah, it is.
I like dance numbers.
I do too. I like dance numbers way more than racism.
Oh my gosh, so much more. It feels so much better. Yeah, I do. I think taking action too, and I think it's hard when you feel like, I don't know, like if you're on the end of the spectrum where you're like, well, I'm not racist. I'm not racist about my body.
I'm probably like the least racist person ever. I don't even see color.
Like, the assumption is that people are ready to do this work. And I just don't think that people are ready to do this work. I read this book, like I said, I hate racism. And I feel like a lot of the conversations we have do challenge the norm, especially in the way that we talk about it, especially like, I even had to even get comfortable with you saying stuff on our podcast. Like, I don't even believe in white people. Cause it's like, damn, now I instantly feel like I'm gonna have to defend this because it's not a mainstream thought. It's not something that people think about. People hear that and it's instantly kind of like off-putting. And so my instinct is like to not be off-putting. I'm like, wait a minute, we're trying to like gain a following. But at the same time, though, we have to have real conversations. And so I like that we have a space and a platform to talk about this stuff in a nuanced way and give people a new way of thinking about it. And I love that there's all this academic study to back up what we are saying. And we can point to these, books and articles and
when they say race is not a fact,
right? It's just
something we've been doing, but we could do something else.
We could, and I think that is the hopeful part. But finding a common truth
without having
hard conversations.
I think a lot of times too, because there's that lack of imagination where people think we're going to replace racism with something else, like we're going to replace white supremacy with black supremacy, right, or sort of patriarchy with a matriarchy. It's like, no, what we're suggesting is we just stop oppressing each other.
It's like,
let's
stay with me now.
Just say, let me finish. We just don't do that anymore. Because honestly, I don't have the energy to oppress anybody. I just don't feel like it.
Well, and then I think too, some people might feel like I don't have the energy to take action.
I barely have the energy to do like my skincare routine at the end of the night.
Yo.
You know how much energy that takes? Like what a G you have to be at the end of the day to be like, I'm actually not going to put my face down in this pillow like I want to.
See, that's the work I can be involved in. Because I know that's going to benefit me directly. And I think that that's what we kind of have to tap into, is like people have to feel like the work that they're doing and the inconvenience that they are gonna, or that discomfort that they might feel, is worth it in the end. So if I had to be a little bit more uncomfortable for the greater good, like I'm always willing to do that. Like I am definitely a team person. I love collaboration. I love working in groups.
You like people.
Yeah, I want to.
You
but
like people.
I do, but they're like also the worst.
Yeah.
And so it's like when we are, but I'm saying that because I am too, and I'm the interconnectedness. Like I get it. Like I get how we can all be massive pieces of shit sometimes. And I think that it's good to just, like you say, just have that hard conversation. Like, yeah, like I'm out here sometimes saying the wrong shit. But I'm willing to learn.
I didn't get to talk about my brief period of bigotry.
Oh.
That I had to leave behind because, when they were talking, which was that one pillar? Let's go back up some. When they were talking about under emotions. I can't remember which one this made me think of. Anyway, but basically, I was raised to be like homophobic. You know what I mean? And so at a certain point, you have to, examine what you've been handed in your childhood and been like, is this real? Like, is this something actually? Because it never really quite, made sense.
You're trying
really.
to suss it out.
Yeah. So finally, and all it takes is, we have so much information readily available to us. It didn't take long to figure out. I'm like, no, this isn't something I need to do anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, it literally just took a little bit of effort. And then it was just like, oh, I don't have to do this. This is making everybody's life worse. So I'm just going to stop. But there's a podcast called Other People's Lives that I listen to. It's very good. And people just sort of call in and talk about their lives. And it was a young man from who was kind of raised in Ohio. And he was just talking about how he was raised to be racist and how he overcame that. And it was very good, and he did the work, and it was very commendable. But in my mind, because I'm a smart aleck and kind of an asshole, I was like, the headline would be Ohio man discovers research. Like, it was just,
that's not shady at all.
it was hella shady. But that's my brain.
I like it.
But good for him for doing that. You know what I'm
saying?
Saying? Like, to being like, oh, you know what, this is.
See, and that's my point though, right? Because it's like, in my mind, I'm thinking like there's just levels to this journey. And so wherever you find yourself, it's okay, right? Just like your art thing today too, you find people that have all their shit together basically, and they're looking for that support and community. You have people who are starting at the beginning, providing a space for people to start, I guess, but you really do want to see the work. And I think for people who've been doing the work, or feel like they've been aware of this information, it does give you that sort of like, oh, you discovered research. Where the fuck have you been? Like, we've been doing this, goddammit. And so it's, like, how do you keep that, how do you tamp that down?
But that is, I do try to remember myself before.
See, this is why
that
it's
discovery.
Continuous.
Yeah, where it was just kind of like, because what would have the result, because part of what they were doing was like calling people in and kind of like rejecting the idea of cancel culture, because it doesn't really give people an opportunity to be imperfect. Yeah. Like, we're just not perfect. And so when, like for me, when I was figuring this out, like it was before social media and stuff like that. So I had never posted anything about, my opinions or anything like that. I was able to, in private, have this journey and never have publicly said words like, well, you need to do this, and that. Like for me, it was just a personal matter of being like, this doesn't seem quite right. Let me look into it. Okay, now that I've learned more, this isn't something I have to do, and I feel better not having those beliefs anymore, because it was like that wasn't serving
anybody.
Yeah. So, but still having compassion for my old self, because you what was the Maya Angelou, better, you do better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, now that you're, I'm thinking about a little bit more, because I wasn't expecting the question about
what a bigot you were.
Yeah, I was like, I don't.
It's like, what's your bigot
Next
stuff?
question, right? No, but honestly, the biggest thing now, like if I'm really thinking about it more than anything, I've been anti-Black more than anything. Like I think about how poorly I used to think about, I mean, as a young person, as a child, like if there was an African person,
Oh, yeah.
especially a dark-skinned one, it wasn't like I hated them, but I just remember like one of the worst insults you could say, like in our social group, was the name of this African kid.
Aw. Dang.
That's fucked up.
It is.
And just how much you internalize that Black is bad, you know, and even just when I think about some of the, you know, like when I'm doing that shadow work on myself or owning my own emotions about how I think and feel, even just about myself, it's rooted in a lot of anti-Blackness. Which is really kind of fucked up.
It is.
Yeah,
but it's
I grew up
not
in a
your
Black
fault,
city.
though.
Yeah, it's just, but it's, again, it's the programming. And so then I have to have compassion for people who aren't Black, who feel like that. Because it's like, yo, on some level, I've internalized it. So I get it. And a lot of times Black people, or people in those oppressed groups perpetuate these systems harder than anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the good news for you guys. It's like, you're not the only ones. We do it too.
No. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. This is a big thing. Like I just honestly wasn't expecting it to be like a deep dive into my soul or anything like that. And I was like, oh God, we're going there. Okay.
It was very, very therapy.
It was. But I think that this is probably what it would take if, you know, because I'm picturing a bigoted person who's like standing on their shit 10 tones down, like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they pick this book up? Why would they want to do this work? So I'm not really sure how you reach those people.
I think, like I said, when I was saying it was like an ad for their course, because I think this was better than most sort of diversity and inclusivity training that I've been through.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like this is at least less patronizing. You know, like I think they are trying to practically, because here's the thing, like,
What's the thing?
I think the thing is, I think we should take a break.
Probably.
Okay.
See, because we'll just be here all day dismantling racism.
We will, but when we
to.
get back from the break, I'll tell you the thing.
Okay, we'll be right back.
All right.
And we're back from the break, you guys.
For real.
For real this time.
Okay, so do you think this book would be received well by people who consider themselves white?
I think it depends. I think if you're a person who considers yourself white and you do read books, like if you're a book reader, probably. Because I think that a lot of people who read books you're already showing an openness in different narratives.
Okay.
This might not be your genre, but it could be something that came up that you could get into. If I'm thinking about the stereotype in my mind that I have, and this is kind of like tapping into what I was speaking on a little bit earlier, I think it would be hard for them because it was hard for me. This book was not an easy read.
There was a point where I wanted to turn it off, and they're like, "It's okay to feel uncomfortable. You can sit with your discomfort,
or turn it off and come right back, or don't cut it off."
Yeah, don't cut it off. Just sit with that discomfort. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like I have sat with so many discomforts when it comes to racism so many times. I think it's that though. It's the weariness. It's the tiredness of it. I think if you're someone who hasn't done any of this sort of exploration at all, this is gonna be really hard. So and people don't generally like doing hard things. I know I'm off. I can be put off by it.
I haven't been to the gym since before COVID.
I got flapjacks and I haven't done anything about it.
And I will say this, my muffin top is all that.
Mm-hmm. So there's that. So I get it. So yeah, no, I think that there's a larger group of people who will never probably come across this book because even if they did, they're gonna feel how I felt when I read it. Like, man, either they're reading that title saying there's no such thing any goddamn way. So what are you even talking about? Or you're just like, you know, so I don't know. I just feel like the people who consider themselves white who might read it, could be open to it, and then there's a more general population who probably would not be into it at all.
Because during the break, I was saying I didn't especially enjoy reading this book. Even though I think it had a lot of good information, it wasn't pleasant or pleasurable like reading some. As a matter of fact, like none of the books we've read this year so far have been like fun reads.
Sad. Racism.
So guys, send us some fun stuff to read, please. Preferably a comic book.
That wouldn't be my preference, but I'm definitely open to some book suggestions. I did like the Blue Eye Samurai. So
I was about to say, if they turn that into a graphic novel, that would be awesome.
But why, if you have this show?
Because it's cool to have different types of mediums, like of the same thing. Like I'll still watch Star Trek and read a Star Trek comic book. It's fun.
Well, let's rate the book then. You were talking a little bit about, it wasn't pleasurable. So if you had to rate this book, what would you give it?
I would probably give it a 3.5 out of 5 like syllabuses. Because it was like it was just kind of work. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. You know what I mean? Like if I recommended this to someone, I feel like they might get mad at me.
Oh my God.
So yeah, but if there was but if someone was like, hey, I need to teach a diversity course, I'd have been like, this would be a really good tool.
Period. Yes, I could definitely see it for that because I'm a part of that committee at my job, and I was like, you know what? I think I could take exercises from this. I might be able to take some of this stuff and integrate it, into that.
And the template they had for the apology conversations, I really liked that.
I didn't make it to that pillar. I didn't get that far.
Oh yeah, there was a thing where they were like, they have a template you can download for these sort of apology things where it was like, look, that was messed up, man. I shouldn't have done that. And and I was like, you know what? And because it's part of the forgiveness thing, kind of where it was kind of like, hey, we all, what was it? The prayer of Saint Francis, where it is through forgiveness that we are forgiven.
Yeah.
So
this is why I try to hold it. Not for your ex, but in general, like people that I interface with that I love, and like I do. I mean, because I want it.
Yeah.
Because I do want it. So if I had to, I could let it go. I just choose not to.
Like I said, though, if there was some actual, I could too. Yeah. Like if there was actually like, oh, I'm sorry.
Show me something.
But
shit.
I think that's
all I'm saying.
I think that's what gets difficult too about like maybe forgiveness in the context of American racism, where it doesn't feel very repentant. Like
it's very get over it. That's old,
girl.
I didn't do that.
That's old tea.
Yeah, so that's tough. That's tough to face. But if I had to rate this book, I'm also giving it 3.5. I'm giving it 3.5. Mouise. Do you remember that word in the book?
What?
It was in the book. It probably was going very, very, very far. I mean, very fast, so you didn't hear it. But this was in the section where they talked about intraconnectedness.
What word?
Mouise. They made it up. Me and we.
Oh.
Smushed together.
Yeah, I didn't catch that one, no.
And because I do believe that if there was a big focus on intra-connectedness, that would be helpful. If people saw the world as we're all connected to everything, that would be a huge...
So that'd be 3.5 Captain Neos.
I don't know.
Because you're just another part of me. That was Michael Jackson's character in the...
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to agree with you. Yes. And that's what I'm giving it. So yeah, I agree with you as your assessment. This is probably something, if you're going, so who would like this book? I think if you are on a journey, on an anti-racist journey, or just some self-exploration around just where you stand, or just kind of wanting to dig into it, this is probably a good book for you. Be prepared for some breathing exercises. Be prepared
just some box
for some
breathing.
pauses.
Download the box breathing app.
Yeah, get used to that. I mean, it's going to be, you're in it. Like, you're not a passenger. That's usually what I enjoy about being in a book, because I get to sit back.
Yeah, you get to take yourself out of the narrative, but this very much draws you.
It's dragging my raggedy ass in this.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I'm a part of this now.
Damn, but I guess that's the whole point. You know, that's what they're saying. So, shout out to them, man, because they did a lot of work putting this together. And even though it was a hard read in terms of like having to be in it, I do think that what they're doing is hopeful and it comes from a good place. So good for them.
If I had to, I would just recommend watch Origin, because that's just like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're gonna be sad.
You're gonna be sad, but you'll get a lot of the same messages, and it's a narrative, which is a little easier to consume, I think, for human beings. Like, it'll hit a little harder.
And then you have the visuals at the same time too, which is also pretty powerful.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like just racism in your earballs for 10 hours was hard.
I know. So hopefully you guys made it through this episode. We definitely need to spin the wheel so we can see what we're talking about next week. So spin it. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. American Fiction.
Is there any
you guys
racism
have
in that?
Seen it. Probably. It's everywhere. But yeah, that American Fiction, I'm super excited to see this movie. I think now it's out for a wider release, because before it was a limited sort of like it wasn't at all the movie theaters. So
okay.
Yeah. So
and it's based on the book Erasure.
Yes, by Percival Everett. So I'm excited to get into it, you guys.
So even if I don't see the movie, I'm gonna read the book, but I'm gonna see the movie.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's at the library because I took it out.
That's okay.
On the Libby app.
Okay.
So
that's okay. I
you
have
can
the
find
Hoopla
it.
app.
You got the tell me about it.
Well, it's just,
tell them about it.
Here's the thing. Like, I have 2 library cards.
Wow, it's like 2 phones. Wow. She's fancy. She's flexing on you.
So I got
2 cards.
I got library cards in different counties, basically, so that I would have access to different collections. So I'm skirting the system.
Do you know the meme I'm thinking of right now?
Breaking the. I'm not up on memes.
Like,
I actually do know what you're talking about. He's like,
he needs to come up
because he looks
when you
like
said that.
LeVar Burton's cousin.
Listen, they go way back. I can tell you that right now.
It's not him, but it's like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But yeah, American Fiction, Jeffrey Wright's in it.
I like him.
Sterling K. Brown, Erica
him.
Alexander, Issa Rae,
Oh, they're
Tracy
so great.
Ellis Ross,
Oh,
and many
man.
more. So it's going to be a good, fun time. I think we are going to have more fun with this. So
Okay, I need some fun.
we definitely need some fun. You guys, hopefully you come back next week.
Oh,
and
but you
join
know what
us.
else is fun?
What's
The
up?
Super Bowl.
It's coming up.
It's coming up, guys. So let's see. This is coming out Wednesday. Let me see what's on the calendar. So, also a shout out to my daughter. She had her first track meet of the year this weekend, and she smoked them.
Let's go.
So I'm of course I'm proud of her and my son, but like I have 2 gifted athletes, and I don't care about sports.
That's so
Like
fun.
it's just, life is so weird. I think about like how many parents are like super hardcore into sports and
we
want
know
their
a
kids.
lot of them. Like life is built around sports,
And I'm just like, okay. Like, I
Same.
mean, if they like it.
If you love it, like I need you to love it. I need you not just to be half-assed in this. Like, do you want to do this or not? Because I'm not about to be spending the time and money for you to just be all right on some stuff. Now, I'm not saying we can't try some things out to see what you like, but you need to decide. Okay, because sports is a lifestyle.
It is. It really, really is. Also, shout out to my baby cousin. Her birthday is Thursday, so the day after this comes out.
Oh, happy birthday.
So happy birthday. I hope you're enjoying yourself. And then, yeah, I'm telling you, that week after that's going to be nuts.
Oh, my goodness. Man, we dragged
I
out
think
through
that
racism
is. We
and all the 8
did. We solved
pillars
racism.
Listen.
Well, let's see. Also just shout out to all the artists, because I went to so many great shows. I can't even go into everybody this weekend, but people just keep doing that. Like we need the artists.
Yeah, clearly we need the creative space so we can solve
We do.
racism, guys.
Oh, and also let me look at my notes one more time, because I'll be like, oh, I meant to say blah, 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 blah. And then I did say, so how we ended slavery, language, put away homophobia, caste, immune system, add for the course, local man discovers research. Do we want to mention what was Odu from the YouTube comments who gave us all the corrections for Blue Eye Samurai? Guys, we apparently had a lot of stuff wrong about our assessment of Japan and Blue Eye Samurai. In our defense, we weren't very well researched and we were just talking about a cartoon. But what was this?
Jakira 9.
Jakira 9. Shout out to you for keeping us on our toes. We love corrections around here. Actually, one of my favorite YouTube shows is Seth Meyers Corrections.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious too.
I love that show. So yes, and actually, if we ever get anything wrong, please let us know. We will correct it on the air. So I'll say it correctly. Akimi was the correct pronunciation of the princess from Blue Eye Samurai, and Abijah Flower. Abijah Fowler. I know, right? Abijah Fowler was Irish and not Scottish. So, yeah.
And it was weird because I meshed those two things together, which is, clearly ignorance. So, yeah, that's very nice.
Not cool.
I like
Those
it.
are very two distinctive cultures that were oppressed by the British.
Yes. The British did it best.
They did a lot. Man, but yeah, shout out to all of our correctors.
Yeah, and just honestly, the fact that you took the time to watch our video and to comment, we appreciate it. So thank you for that. We definitely
so keep us right.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, that could be a full-time job. So good luck is also the sentiment.
Good luck and go. Wait, so we should just on some random stuff, one of us should cheer for the 49ers and one of us should cheer for the Chiefs.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Okay, you're going to go with Chiefs? I'm going to go with the 49ers. So,
okay.
Should we do a bet?
Yeah, what are we gonna
let's
bet?
Make it interesting.
Oh, let's make it food-based or something.
Oh, would I have to make food?
Yes.
God bless America.
Bitch.
I regret everything now. I was going to say one of us would have to wear a silly shirt or something on the show.
Okay, or something maybe embarrassing.
Yeah, a silly, a kind of...
Okay, I like it. I want to get very specific with this. We don't have to do it now.
We don't.
We'll come up with what it is.
Yeah, maybe you guys can give us some ideas of
give
something.
Us suggestions. Yeah.
So, and then that way I'll have a reason to care about the Super Bowl.
That's very true.
Oh! Wait a minute. Wait. I was saying ooh because I was just remembering Usher's performing at the Super Bowl.
I wasn't saying it.
I know. I was just really.
Oh man, the fact that we both did it at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's it.
But I am excited about that. I am gonna watch that. I'm mad I didn't get to see him in Vegas. I wanted to see him in Vegas. Those tickets, Usher. I've got kids.
I don't want to. Or you know what? Everybody can just comfort me. I don't really like Usher all that much.
Yeah, that's heresy.
To me, he's okay.
My mom does not like him either.
I didn't say I don't like him. I feel the same way about Usher as I do Ralph Tresvant.
What?
They're good. They're fine. I'm just not about to be all I'm not about to leave my house for them though.
Oh no, I'm leaving my house for Usher, for sure. And I think too, it's nostalgic too because I grew up. I feel like we grew up together. We know each other.
That's how I feel about Beyonce.
And yeah, I would pay money to see Usher. I definitely because he's just good at his job. He puts on a really good show. He can actually sing in real time, in real life.
Trust me, that's not what I was not suggesting that Usher cannot sing.
And
Usher can sing and dance. He's very entertaining. It's just I get enough through the screen. I'm fine.
I feel you, yeah. But if I had to go to a live show, I wouldn't.
Did I ever tell you? No, you know Grandma loves Usher.
What?
Did I ever tell you she wanted him to be my baby daddy?
I wanted him to be a baby daddy. Shit. Are you kidding me? That would have been.
She freaking loves Usher. To me, he's always just been okay.
Okay. So musically, physically, all of it, just you don't like his songs?
Oh no, you don't have to call. Oh, come on, that comes on the radio. Perfect. No notes.
All right.
No, it's not. It's just
it's his sexy flexy thing. I mean, that's not really what I'm getting into.
I don't think I find him attractive.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not talking about his attractiveness. I'm talking about his music and stuff.
No, I need everything. This is the way people talk about.
You need everything. I think that's a lie. Because I've heard you quote some lyrics, and it's like, now he's not giving you everything. You got now.
No. I'll quote lyrics. Here's the thing. I don't think I feel the way a lot of people feel about him, where it's just like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, I mean,
what's her name? Sarah from Boondocks? Like, I'm not doing all that over Usher.
Yeah, no. I would, but I felt like his Las Vegas residency would have made Vegas fun, because the last time I went, I did not have fun. And most of the time, the shows, I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see that.
I mean, but you
it's
know
like,
me,
if I
I'm
was
not a
in
concert
Vegas,
person anyway,
you're
period.
not.
So that's the whole thing. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I'll just watch.
Him take his shirt off from here. It's fine.
I don't need a shirt off either. I like him in a suit.
Yeah,
I like that
with
Tiny
too.
Desk concert. That was fun.
Tiny Desk was great.
That was really good. But I like.
Yeah, I'm not thirsting after Usher or anything like that. It's mostly just, I just think he's extremely talented, and I enjoy his music a lot.
Good. And thanks for accepting me for who I am and not
fine.
being crazy. You know, just
have to
like,
love
you know,
him.
you can just have my. I'll put it this way: if I want some Usher tickets, they're yours.
It's great news.
How about that? How about that?
And I'm gonna give one to you, so you have to come with me.
No, they're
okay, that's true. You don't
non-trans-
deserve it. It's fine, 'cause
Exactly.
you're not even gonna enjoy
No,
it.
take another Usher fan.
Take somebody who actually,
or give them to the Usher.
And on that note, stop taking your husband shopping with y'all when they don't want to go.
That is really sad. I see that a lot of
what the fuck
times.
is
It's
that
just like,
about?
just take
You're
his
ruining it
money
for me.
Like,
Right? Just
yeah,
give me
he
the
would
car,
probably
let me
give you
go.
extra money if he doesn't have to
to
go.
leave that man alone. You don't
Yeah,
wanna go
let
do
that man
shit.
take a nap and
let him at
him-
home
Oh, because you know when's the best time to shop? During the Super Bowl.
during sports.
I've done that. Oh, that's a great time.
Really? I don't think I've done that. That's
Oh,
great.
yeah, like go to the grocery store like during the Colts game.
That's naps.
That's naps.
That's what I take. Naps.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what's up.
Listen, we gotta go.
We do.
Guys.
But your body belongs to you.
Yes, and be involved.
And don't use it for racism.
Well, you just told him it belonged to him, though.
Well, but I can also tell them what.
You can ask them not to. You can tell
Okay,
them to.
your body belongs to you. Please don't use it for racism.
Thank you. It's to be a request. Yes. And
Thank you for calling me in.
Yes. And just come on back. Come on back. Okay. Prayer groups up, like Nikki has said. Prayer warriors, we need you out here. Okay. Do the stuff that makes you feel happy, you guys. If it's an Usher concert, if it is eating,
Going to our Patreon and supporting two Black
Yes.
women who are just trying to make it in America.
if it's eating your lunch alone in your car, you know what I'm saying? So you can escape the racism, do that. You know what I mean? So hopefully we see you guys back next week, and peace.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another fake-ass book club. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.